Since we're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I wanted to share, I've been reading from his book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? And I can't remember which chapter it's in, but it's page 146, 148. There's this paragraph that I think is really, really super important to us. Maybe more so today than yesterday. Maybe more so, just with our mentality, just with our understanding of what it means to be progressive. Now, I think the quote is something like, "Perfection is the enemy of doing," or something like that. It's like perfection just gets in the way. Okay, perfection has a way of getting in the way. It loves to park itself in our gray matter, and it loves to be a voice of doubt. It loves to be a voice of cynicism. It loves to be a voice that says, this isn't good enough. This isn't what you should put out there. You need to have this down perfect first, right? That this needs to be absolutely the best before you offer it, because it's going to make you look bad. It's going to do this and it's going to do that, and the whole thing's going to fall apart around you. And I've seen this, right? I've actually seen this, and I've seen the need to be prepared. But being prepared isn't the same as the need to be perfect. Being prepared doesn't mean that everything is going to go exactly as planned. Being perfect means everything will go exactly as planned, and everybody will receive what it is you're doing exactly as you hope that they would receive it. And the rewards of unleashing this plan, of activating this plan, will be perfect. But that's not the same as being prepared. Anyway, I found this meme today. I think it was Alice who put it out. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Beautiful, beautiful quote. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Obviously, the idea here is that I'm going to be disappointed for a few minutes, but hope will get me through this. If I hold on to hope, and hope is infinite. As a matter of fact, my wife will often quote something she heard when she was in Russia. So she spent time in Russia working with university students, and the saying that she shares with us is, "Hope dies last." There's always hope until there's nothing else left, but there's always hope. Until you draw your last breath, there is always hope. Now, in the book that I'm reading, Martin Luther King Jr. goes on to say, he says, "This is where the civil rights movement stands today. We err and we falter as we climb the unfamiliar slopes of steep mountains. But there is no alternative, well-trod, level path. There will be agonizing setbacks along with creative advances. Our consolation is that no one can know the true taste of victory if he has never swallowed defeat." Tell me he is not reaching out to us today. Tell me he is not reaching out to us today with a message that we desperately need going forward. He's talking about in this chapter. He's talking about the civil rights movement, and he's talking about the setbacks that they've experienced. He's talking about how it feels like one step forward, 19 steps back, one step forward, 18 steps back, one step forward, 17 steps back, whatever the case might be. But he's talking about disappointment. We will err and falter as we climb the unfamiliar slopes of a steep mountain. We've never been here before. We've never had to travel these corridors. We've never had to walk these paths. We've never had to trudge along these slopes. This is all new for us because as progressives, we're continuously trying to advance. We're continuously trying to help society grow, to help society become more loving and more understanding and more merciful and more gentle and kind. And every time we do that, every single time we do that, every single day we live for that purpose, we are indeed walking a path that we've never walked before. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but walking a path that nobody's ever walked before is a bit of a challenge. I spend time in the woods. I go hiking. Walking a man-made trail, easy. Ish, right? It's easy in comparison to walking a deer path. And that, walking a deer path, is easy in comparison to walking through a grove of trees, through a forest, where you are the first person to go, where you're the first one to step foot, where you have to have your knife out in front of you, where you have to have a branch out in front of you, breaking down the branches that block your way. The cuts, the scrapes, the scratches on your arms and your face, these are all wounds that come from trudging an unknown trail. Now, the people coming behind you generally have an easier go of it. And that's what it means to be a progressive. That's what it means to be a pioneer. And so for Dr. King here, there is no alternative. He goes on to say there's no alternative well-trod level path. There is no already pre-created path to justice. There's no road. There's no established trail. If there was, we'd have the justice. If there was, there would be equality. If there was, there'd be no purpose for the progressive mind, for the progressive person. We could just walk the trail that has already been established, which sounds much more conservative by nature than progressive. We have to do this. For us to achieve what we dream of achieving, we've got to traverse the unknown, the uneven, the dangerous, ungroomed trail. We have to do it. And the more we're willing to walk it, the more we're willing to move down, the more of us who are willing to participate, to stand side by side, the easier that trail will be for those who come behind us. But this piece of land that you and I are standing on right now, nobody's ever stood here. It's going to be difficult. And that's where I say, we can't let our expectation of perfection get in the way. We can't be easily discouraged. We can't be discouraged at all when we face a setback. Of course we're going to face a setback. We're imperfect, and we're doing something that nobody's ever done before. So we're learning on the fly here. And when you learn on the fly, I don't know about you, but for me, when I learn on the fly, there's like sometimes great success, and sometimes there is miserable outcomes. Awful outcomes. It's not the result of anything except being unfamiliar in this place, and no amount of preparation is going to make it any easier. No amount of preparation can possibly help us get by an unforeseen circumstance. And again, the unforeseen circumstances are all around us when we're standing in unknown territory, on uneven ground, on an untrod path. Stay hopeful. Stay hopeful. Stay adventurous. Continue to be brave and bold and courageous enough to be the one in the front. To be the one. All right, I'll cut the trail if there's none. If there isn't one existing. I will be the one who blazes this trail. I will be the one whose feet are the first to step in this place. I will be the one to knock down the branches. I'll be the one to push down the snow. I'll be the one to see if this ground is safe to walk on, or if it's too slippery, or if it's too loose. I'll be the one to determine if this water is too deep to cross, or if we have to move upstream. I'll do that. I'll do that for my brothers and sisters. And I know there'll be discouragements. I know that I won't be successful every step. I know from time to time I'm going to get smacked by a branch, or I'm going to get cut by a broken limb. I know from time to time I'm going to get a soaker because I stepped in a place that I didn't think it was as deep as it was, and the water ran up over my boot. I know from time to time I might lose my boot in the mud. But I'll do it for my brother and sister. And I will be thankful for every step forward I take, and I'll be thankful for every obstacle that I encounter, and I'll be thankful for every 2 steps that I have to take back. Because in all of these things, I will gain experience. In all of these things, I will gain knowledge. In all of these things, I will gain wisdom. And whenever I'm gifted in such ways, I will share it with others. So my setbacks, my discouragements, my frustrations, they become useful information to the people who follow behind me. They become useful to the people who will take my place for a little while in leading the way. It'll become useful for me as I continue. Perfection's the enemy. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Don't let it get in the way. Just cast those expectations aside and offer yourself the grace to reframe every experience and every outcome as something that'll bring us closer to our ultimate goal. Amen.